finish line. You can't get there from here.
Strap on your feet bag. Wide Army. Running with scissors.
HWYRT.
HWYRT.
How come you're not running right now? No, seriously, grab some headphones and go for a run while you listen.
Come on, Bray.
And now, without further ado, here are Brian and Peter.
Peter, here we are again. We're recording this the day before Valentine's Day, which is the 14th of February this year anyway. I don't know if it's every year, the 14th of February.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. No leap year in Valentine's Day. I don't even know what that means.
There could be, but it would happen after the fact. So
that's right.
Never as affected.
The reason the 14th is important because that would make the 14th day in a row that you would be going to the gym according to all of the things you told me in the last episode of this little here show. How was your run today? Peter, how was your gym today?
Wait, you listened to that?
I was here.
Are you saying I was talking a little big?
I had the headphones on. I heard it.
Listen, there's a couple strategies that I employ.
Employ?
To get through the winter.
Okay.
One of them is set big goals.
Got it.
Okay?
Gym every day of February. That's a big goal.
As you said, today's the 13th.
Today
So
is.
what number day should this be of going to the gym?
This would be 13.
Okay. Today's going to be 12, and here's why. I missed a day on this past weekend due to a snowstorm, and the gym had limited hours that it was opened because of said snowstorm, timing-wise, when it hit in the morning and all that. And I couldn't get back in time from where I was over the weekend.
And what were you doing that day?
I was up with my mom, making sure she was cool in the snowstorm, and then I shoveled her out.
So that's a workout.
Oh, it's a workout.
Yeah.
75 minutes. I clocked in, clocked out.
Yeah, no kidding.
Some serious shoveling.
I would have recommended you don't go to the gym that day.
You actually did.
Thank you.
And I liked that.
Yeah.
I also got back a half hour after the gym closed. Nothing I could do.
Nothing you can do.
Couldn't even go into stretch, which I would have done.
Let's talk about that for a moment.
Please.
Because if you're going to the gym every day, you do need to up your stretching game.
Yes, I do.
And are you?
I am. Thank you very much. So here's what I do.
Okay.
I go one day, arms, chest. Go in the next day, cardio. I go in the next day, legs. I go in the next day, cardio. I go in the next day, stretch. Like 30 to 40 minutes of stretching, serious stretching.
Okay.
With maybe a little 5-minute cardio at the end just to sweat it out. Maybe. And then the whole thing repeats, baby.
So how's it feeling? You're about to embark on, I think, segment 3 of this little
is
train
really
you're
good.
on.
I feel really good. Here's where I'm noticing it for real. Running upstairs. I feel good. Whereas I used to really
Suffer?
plod.
Wheeze?
Well, it wasn't. I could get winded. No, it's more like
Would it bring a tear to your eye?
hold the rail.
Yeah.
That 10th step.
Make it up.
Yeah, there was no zip. I had
Shift your hips in order to move your legs.
reach down to pick up that one that's heavier.
That's right.
Lift it.
Yeah.
No, I definitely have a zip back, which is I'm going to say is based on I think all the things, right? But mostly probably cardio and strength training. Like yeah, I can actually move my severe weight in a more agile way. But I do want to move on to this.
Okay.
All I'm doing is getting heavier.
Okay, I want to talk to you about this because I have a whole new, completely new mindset. I had like a thought explosion.
When-
I don't know if I've mentioned this or not,
I think,
but I
you've
had
not.
a very deep conversation with Emily Saul,
Yeah.
who just stared at me and
As-
maybe was like, "Great, Brian."
good job.
But I felt as if she was approving of my rationale here.
Okay, and what was this explosion of thought?
All right. So we all know there's at least 4 variables in doing what we like to do, which is some sort of running, some sort of, maybe we think of it as a distance event or endurance event kind of thing.
Sure.
Because we are talking about the solstice run, which we'll talk about in a little while.
Don't jump ahead.
They are, 1, running.
Running.
You got to run in order to run.
Runners run.
Strength. Keep up that strength.
Got to build strength.
Don't let some areas get stronger than others. So you're going to have problems later on.
Yes.
Diet,
Fuel the beast.
meaning what you put in your body in through your mouth. Stretching.
Yeah, you got to keep it.
You gotta
gotta
keep the
it
stretching
stretched,
up.
Yeah. That's 4.
That's it.
That was the 4.
That's it. Now, let's start with running.
1.
Well, let's start with all of them. So for years,
Years.
I have said, okay, what I really enjoy doing is long distance endurance events. Doesn't mean I can do them all the time. Sometimes, like last year, I do one. Well, I did 2. I do 2. That's not very many, but no, I mean
if they're long enough, it's plenty.
Right, compared to a normal person, yes, it's a lot. But
We're not talking about them.
in
Talk about
my
you.
bizarre mind, that's not that many, but I did them, and you always want to do them a little better or a little easier. Not easier. You want to be able to feel like you really exerted a good effort, right? And
Maybe you want to monitor the suffering. Maybe the suffering should be lower.
limit the suffering. Yes,
Where possible.
precisely right.
Yeah.
Up the enjoyment, lower the suffering.
If possible.
There's always going to be some, but that's okay. And so that's where I have found my groove the last bunch of years. So what I have done intentionally is all of those phases,
Yes.
running, strength training, diet especially.
It's stretching.
Stretching we'll set aside because I think it is, it's on its own. Is think of it in endurance ways. Meaning, I would work out with like lower weight but much higher reps on the idea that you don't want to hurt yourself by accidentally doing too much with a higher weight, but you also want to mimic sort of doing a lot of one thing for a long time.
Sure.
Okay. I'm sure there's some science behind that, and I probably listened to it in a podcast. I have no idea where I came up with this idea. Food. Always training food, always eating as if I'm training for an event, right? And you always hear about this. Make sure you get enough protein. Make sure you get enough carbs. Make sure you get enough fats. You know what that equals?
I don't.
A lot of food.
A lot of eating.
A lot of eating. And
High caloric intake.
at my age
You don't do
and
that.
my realistic metabolism rate,
Probably not wise to do it.
it doesn't have the desired effect. Fast forward to the Grand Canyon, Brian crying, suffering. If there was any liquid in my body, I would have cried. And eventually getting his groove back. So this is what I decided.
Is this the explosion now?
Here's the explosion.
Okay.
Running is only for endurance. You are only, me, not you. I am running in order to improve my endurance. I am only eating to maintain a healthy weight. I'm not eating to fuel my running. I'm eating to maintain a healthy weight, which I still have to attain, hopefully. Strength training. I'm strength training to become stronger. I'm not strength training to mimic endurance events. I'm not strength training certain body parts because I run. I'm just overall strength training to become stronger. Believe me, there's a difference in practice and output with this new mindset.
Is this the part where Emily just stared at you?
She might have been talking to somebody else at that point.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to bring all of that into now.
Yeah.
Weigh-in Wednesday, which is the dedicated day that I get on the scale,
Okay.
and how in the last 2 months, now keep in mind, I've only been doing this latest gym retourne, not even 2 full weeks yet.
Got it.
In the last 2 months, since like the mid-holidays area, that scale only seems to want to go up.
Yep.
Now apply everything you just said into my conundrum.
Well, precisely. For me, anyway, the food thing is a matter of being very conscious of what I put in my mouth at all times, right?
Okay.
It stinks. And I used to have
Your
a
mouth
great,
stinks, or what you have to do to...
I used to have a great, incredible metabolism. I could eat anything and never gain any weight. Well, those days are long gone. So the last
You mean
two...
like college?
So, yeah. So say the last 2 years, for example,
Okay.
I've been focused on long-distance endurance.
Yes.
I've been eating in a way that I thought fueled that activity.
Okay, now I'm starting to
All I
understand.
did was gain weight until I maintained a weight that was counterproductive to my actual goal, which was doing long-distance running events. Because I thought I was fueling my training, but I wasn't. I was eating too many carbs. I was just eating too much in general. And anytime I made a little choice here or there, I was like, oh, this will be good for my endurance training. No, it was a bad food choice. Bad. It was bad for me at that time.
I understand.
So here's the proof in the pudding. I've lost some weight.
Pudding.
Yeah, I miss pudding.
So you've lost some weight. You look good. Okay, so is my issue then 28 months ago when we were training and then ran MDI,
Yes.
and then I stuffed my face on the other side of MDI,
Oh, that was a fantastic face stuffing. No, it was so good. We both ate so much food.
and then I just kept doing that.
Well, you had some additional issues.
No, I had, but I'm saying I didn't stop. The way we ate
Yeah.
the day at the end of the race,
Yes.
and maybe the next day,
Yes.
is how I've continued to
Yeah.
eat for 28 months.
Right. Pretty much me too. Right.
Except I'm not training,
No.
so that bad
But you
for me.
You also didn't you have a meniscus tear?
Oh, I had COVID. I had a meniscus tear. I had an operation.
Right.
You name it. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So yes, you continued to eat. That would have been a fine meal to have had after that.
and then
And
be
then
done.
in some point shortly maybe after you recovered from COVID, which you got the next day, you would have started training again.
Salad Angel and nothing else.
Salad Angel.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that's one issue.
Yep.
And what you're saying is, I think, the workouts. Well, actually, I don't know what you're saying about the workouts. Let's go down to that next part. The gym workouts are not bad. Those are good.
Yeah.
And the varied nature of them. Because sometimes it is running. Sometimes it's elliptical. Sometimes it's the bike.
Okay, so you're doing a different thing than I am.
Fine.
I'm going to the gym 2 days a week. I am just doing strength training, meaning picking up and putting down things that are heavier than I normally do in my everyday life.
Very good.
And I'm focusing on, a couple a push and a pull for the legs,
Yep.
a push and a pull, maybe 2x for the upper body.
I got you.
And that's it.
And then the rest of the time, what are you doing? Running?
Then I'm trying to run like 4 days a week.
Okay.
Then I'm doing like a long yoga session once a week, but I am probably doing 20 to 30 minutes of yoga / stretching, targeted stretching, probably 3 or 4 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing any speed work. So the running can also be divided into two things. Yes, it's endurance, but if you want to you got to run faster to be faster. So at some point, I don't do this in the wintertime because I don't run inside. So once it starts getting warm, maybe I'll incorporate some speed work in there. And so it'll be endurance plus some speed work. But that's sort of that's a specific thing.
So can you prognosticate what will happen next for me?
For you?
Yeah. Me.
Well, I think given your experience and mine, what you have to be very careful of is seeing gains in terms of both your mood and your physical strength and the way you feel. You're going to get endorphins and you're going to feel good. And you're going to be like, I'm doing it. Chicken wings, entire loaf of bread, pizzas folded in half with a calzone on top. Because I've fallen in the same trap.
Sprinkled with tacos.
Exactly. And instead, I have to say, no. It's a mental trick, Peter. It's not the right way to explain it scientifically. It's a mental trick. The gym has nothing to do with what I'm eating. The running has nothing to do with what I'm eating.
Oh, I see where you're going.
Weight loss for me only comes from the kitchen.
It's calories in.
It's what goes into my mouth. Now, at some point, if I get in good shape again, I will have to think about providing the right kinds and the right number of calories for something.
But you're not near depletion.
I'm nowhere
You're not
near
running
that.
at a deficit.
No. I've upped my protein. I do protein powder once a day and try to up my protein on a daily basis because I know because I've done some had some nutrition work done. I was low in protein. That's all. So I try to up that by like 1 serving a day.
Well, as the saying goes, we've upped our protein.
Now up yours.
Now up yours.
Thank you.
Well, I think then, if I hear you right, and I think I do because I'm not too far from you and you're coming in very clear, I think you're saying maybe eat better and fewer calories.
Yeah. But the trick is to not
base it on anything I'm doing.
Not make the gym or how you're feeling the excuse for what you eat.
Oh, that's a good one.
You're always on the program.
Right.
So to speak.
Or I like to think of I got the permission slip. Right?
Yeah, running is a permission slip to eat like crap.
That's really interesting.
It always has been for me.
That's really interesting.
And sometimes it works when I'm running a lot, but it catches up to you. It's not true. It doesn't always work.
Well, because we're about halfway through this experiment of a 28 gym thing, I'm going to really double down now on the food. And I don't mean in a bad
You're
way.
going to eat twice as
No,
much.
no. I mean the other way. I meant, be very mindful, try to keep it under 2,000 calories a day, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, for me in particular, I don't really think about calories. I think it's about what the meal is
makeup.
comprised of.
Yeah, the makeup of the meal.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, I'm reward based.
Oh, I am as well.
That's how I operate.
Yeah.
But if we could just play this little tape that we recorded the other day, you'll see the kind of reward I get.
Okay.
You want to start over?
Yeah, Brian, we're live at our employer's annual health benefit fair. Scott from the gym that we talked about last week is here. Scott, hi.
Hello there.
Scott, how many times in February have you seen me at the gym?
What's today's date?
Today's the 11th.
11th? Maybe 9 times?
It is exactly 9 times.
Yeah.
Today will be 10. I had to take Sunday off.
Okay, yep.
You guys had limited hours. I was off shoveling.
Yes.
I'm trying to get to the gym every day in February.
You're doing excellent so far.
That's all I needed. I need that positive affirmation.
It's getting there is half the battle. So once you get there,
Every time I walk in, it's a victory.
absolutely.
Nice job.
Nice job.
Thank you, guys. See, that's the kind of thing. Thank you, Scott, manager of New Balance Fitness, for validating me. I just need
that's an affirmation right
I need
there.
that. I need that positive
You
reinforcement.
should have a button on your phone that plays that
that
little
clip
recording.
Yeah,
all the time.
Oh, I have it on a loop when I go to bed.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Great job. You went to the gym a lot.
You're on the right track.
That's really great.
It's half the battle.
Walking in, there's a victory
You're winning.
with the brown noise.
Right.
Brown sauce. See, I jump right to food.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, and I think you share this, we like food. Some people don't like food.
No, I know.
Some people don't. It's just a means to survive. Okay, yeah, I got to do
Yeah,
that.
no, I would eat all the meals all the time until I exploded.
I love just sitting down with a thing of peanut butter and like stalks of celery and just giving that a swirl and get that in my mouth. Is that bad?
I could eat a pound of cheese and a party-sized bag of chips
100%.
without thinking about it
100%. But
before I ordered
we
the
were
wings.
good today. We had salads today for lunch.
Yeah.
I'm heading out to the gym after we're done with this
Yeah.
for day 13 of 14.
Congratulations.
So now I have a question. Let's say I get real crazy. Am I doubling up a gym one day so
No,
that I can get
please
to
don't.
28
No.
and do the last one from the hospital?
No. Exactly. Yeah. No.
All right, then.
Come on, break.
Brian, last show, we put a call out to Hawartians everywhere
All of them.
to send us voice memos or pictures or write an email. And I know several people were talking big. I'm looking at you, Goff. I'm still waiting on you, James McCabe. But we actually did get some responses. Do you? Can you go to the big board?
In fact, yes, I'd love to share. How about I share two this
Oh,
week?
let's just do 2 this week. That's great.
Yeah, I'll limit it to 2. So Jacob.
Hi, Jacob.
In Bedford, Massachusetts. We could probably narrow that down exactly to who it is at this point. How many Jacobs are in Bedford? Who
I think
knows?
there's only 2.
Yeah, there's probably only a couple. Anyway, new listener, and he was on the Battle Road, and he was like, they're talking about it. I'm on the Battle Road. Amazing. And here's the big news.
What's the big
Jacob has signed up for his first ever marathon. He's running the Bay State Marathon in Lowell
Wow.
in October,
That is no joke.
right? So he's got 8 months to go,
Good stuff.
give or take. He's trying to be smart, slowly get his body used to higher weekly miles.
It's not a bad plan.
But he's working it.
Do you think Jacob will join us for our yet to be named longest day of the year race on Saturday, June 21st?
So what you're asking is, will Jacob run an ultra before his first marathon?
I mean,
I'm like, there's like a 75% chance of yes on that one.
I would think yes, but also he doesn't have to do the whole thing. He could hop in.
Right. He could say, oh, I need to do...
I got a 10 that day.
I got a 10 that day. I'll come in and do the Battle Road
What's
with
the
you guys.
big deal?
What's the big deal?
Well, Jacob, thanks for reaching out to us. We appreciate it. Keep sending in updates on your marathon journey. The first training round is always exciting, and it's great to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Here's the one from Kelly from North Carolina.
Kelly from North Carolina.
And Kelly says, how was your gym today? Which is
Hey.
basically what the show has become for some reason.
I don't mean to do that. It's just that's where my running's happening right now.
She sent a picture of her home gym, which looks like most people's home gym, or like a lot of people's. Certainly, when I've had one, it looks like
Is that an old computer in the back,
So,
or is
right.
that a vent? What is that?
Exactly. So it's it's like a weight bench.
It's a weight bench.
with a lot of apparatus and weights around.
Is that a lawnmower?
And also there's, like a high pressure washer there. Looks like maybe some old pizza boxes or something like that. The recycling is next to it. Because
like that. It's a
our
home gym.
houses, houses aren't made to have gyms in them.
No, you live in your house.
You live in your house, so you move out to your basement where there's other stuff. And anyway, she says, not the prettiest setup, but my gym in the garage. She has a gym in the garage, and she is committed to strength training in 2025. I think I live even closer to the gym than Peter does, which, Kelly, I will say barely.
I mean, Kelly,
Barely.
I appreciate it, but you got to know, for city living, man, I'm right up against this gym. There's no excuse, except for the part where I go up to my mom's house and shovel her out. That's the only excuse I have.
That's
And I don't
no-
even think that's so bad. I think 75 minutes of shoveling, not to beat this drum again, but I mean, come on, that's a pretty good workout.
Let's go back to what has happened with every streak you've ever attempted.
Oh, it's not a streak.
So we can drop
okay,
the one day because the whole point of going to the gym is exercising.
I'm doing it.
So if you exercise by shoveling snow, you don't have to go to the gym.
Yeah, it's so funny because I'm the only one who cares about this, and I mean that in every possible sense of that.
That is 1,000%.
I was walking to work today, and I was like, nobody cares that I've made up this. It's totally made up,
Yeah.
and no one cares.
Do you know what's not made up? Well, it is made up, but it hasn't happened yet.
Weight loss for me.
That'll come.
It's totally made up because I think I'm losing weight.
This Summer Solstice Ultra, which has no name yet.
No,
We're not calling it the Summer Solstice Ultra.
No, it's a long run on the longest day of the year, so there's something there. Jen Schott, hope you're listening.
It's somewhat historical.
It's the Battle Road.
It's statue to statue. It's
Statue to
Boston. It's
statue.
Cambridge. It's historic Concord.
Town to town, statue to statue.
It actually will be in Lexington. It's Lexington and Concord.
Oh yeah, and you had your whole thing about the anniversary of the start of the
Right. It's not happening then.
No,
we're
it's
doing it
not.
on the solstice.
But I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
The history laden part of it.
If you don't really know Boston well or you're new to the era, you would get such a fantastic sightseeing tour.
I mean, it's a crash
on this
course
route.
of early history for this area and this country.
And you get to see, great parts of Boston.
Great parts of Boston.
You get to see the Atlantic Ocean, Boston Harbor.
You start with the harbor.
You get to see the Public Garden. You get to see the
True
Commons.
or false? We're buying like things of Lipton tea and throwing them in the harbor and starting.
You got to do it.
We got to do it.
And then you run through historic Harvard Square, and then
Oh yeah, you do.
and then you're on the bike path, and that's quite beautiful. And then you're in historic Concord before you know it. Lexington and Concord.
Because we have some time here, and it's
Yeah.
only February, do you think we should have a little bit of a contest and have people send in their ideas for naming this race?
Yes.
How would we do that? Would we just say, hey, audience, we want your ideas for naming this race at howwasyourruntoday@gmail.com?
If I were to have a podcast
Let's just say, imagine what you did.
and make up an endurance running event,
That's going to be on June 21st, the longest day of the year.
that's how I would do it. I would have people write in ideas for names
Of that race.
and send it to howwasyourruntoday@gmail.com. That's exactly what I would do. You're right.
So that is the way you would do it. It's the right way to do it.
That's the right way to do it.
We should look into that.
Come on, Bray.
Brian, I've really sort of held court here this last show and a half on the gym floor. And I've been remiss in my duties, which are myriad. But the main one right now is, can you tell me how your run was any of these days?
Lately, how were your runs lately?
Yeah, like the last 2 weeks. What do you got going on, man?
I have had every sort of run you could possibly imagine. I have had, the other day, I ran 3 miles and barely made it. My
Like
legs were
struggle
tight,
bus.
calves were tight,
3 miles. Come on.
and I had to stop and just fix my breathing. It was one of those I got up from
never-
a long day of meetings,
Yep.
started running.
No.
It was horrible, but I knew it. I was like, okay, fine. That
you
happened.
never got past the suck.
I've been doing some Monday morning miles with Brewmeister Will, and because he lives down the street from me, and we've been doing a quick 5K on Monday mornings. We haven't, it hasn't been every single Monday, but that has been the best way to start the week, I gotta say.
That's really solid. Do you think you live closer to Brewmeister Will, or do I live closer to the gym?
You live closer to the gym.
Is that true?
I think so.
We should do step counts.
Yeah, I will do that.
I'll do that
100%.
too.
I'll do
Okay,
that
great.
on Monday.
Thank you so much.
So that's been great. So that gets me, a little run in first thing in the week. And then I have had a couple of long runs, which have been okay. They're slow. I'm slow. One included a bunch of running on snow-covered ice,
Oh, terrible.
which wound up really kind of screwing me up a little bit. I got a little nerve pain, what do you call those? The little connector muscles all in your hips and your core all got a little strained. But I also had a great hills run. I don't know, that was a few weeks ago, the last time I was running hills.
On drive payment?
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm going to push. And well, it was hard. But, I did really well. And I said, so it's been all over the place. And all that says to me is keep going, listen to your body, don't overdo it, but also, don't make it an excuse to not do something. So find whatever that medium point is. It's also like the days are still short. The running conditions on any given day these days can be horrible or fine.
Well, we're in it right
snow,
now. I mean, this is the
rain,
worst.
sleet.
I really would like to talk to James or to Michael to talk about what training like right now is.
Yeah. So I don't have to look and say, I've got to do 7 today. I guess it's on the treadmill. Like, thank goodness.
Oh my God.
I'm not dealing with that. But if I was training for Boston, I sure would be. So I bet those guys have to do that.
Since I've gone back to the gym, I'm going to tell you right now that treadmills are great for 3 miles. No more. No more.
Now, wait a minute. Remind the listeners, Peter,
What?
What is the longest mileage you've ever done on a treadmill?
I don't have it handy, but I think it was 19 miles.
I think it was. That's so
And it was an
disgusting.
awful experience. And I consider it like a lost day, like I'll never get that day back. Now, it was particularly gross outside.
Yeah.
It was necessity. Mm-hmm. God, it was awful.
I once did, I think, a 15 or a 16
It's no good.
on the Battle Road Commuter Trail on a day where it was frozen slush and snow. And they plowed halfway through my run. I thought it was going to be plowed from the beginning. That's why I went there. But once I got there, I had to do it. And my feet became frozen pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I couldn't feel my feet, and it was really hard. But
very
at the
challenging.
same time, it sort of taught me, like, well, because eventually they came back. You pound on your feet hard enough, they warm up, and you can feel them again. It's not like it was 5 degrees out. It was like 28 degrees
No, but
out.
wet is tough. Wet and cold is tough.
It was really hard, but on the other hand, I did it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go do it today.
Nope.
But you do, you do endure. As
I will
it
say
were.
this. In my mind's eye, I imagine that there'll be a time in the next 5 or 6 years, 10 years, where I want to run the marathon one more time.
Oh,
let's say.
boy.
Right? And I'm talking specifically Boston.
Okay.
And I don't know how I'm going to do that training. I may have to go somewhere else.
No. Nope. No.
I can't do it
No.
here.
You're just thinking about February
It's the worst.
13th.
It's the worst.
Go to the gym
I'm telling you.
and then go again on the 14th. Don't think about how you're going to do the Boston Marathon. in 6
Can I
years.
come up with a training plan for my next Boston in 7 to 14 years?
Yeah. Fly to St. Croix.
Well, that's
In January.
That's probably right. True or false? Internet Dan reached out to you.
I don't know if we want to be spreading this information.
Oh, we can't talk about that?
But there
No, we best not.
There
We
is-
don't have permission.
There is
Nope.
something brewing.
Don't think we can do it. Can't talk about it.
That
No.
sounds really
Cut.
fun
Cut out this part.
in 2026.
Note to self, no.
I really want to do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But before that, we have the longest day of the year, June 21st.
Yeah, so if you can send in your name for that made-up race on June 21st at howisyourruntoday@gmail.com. Don't mean to cut it short again, Brian, but I do need to get over
you
to the
have to
gym.
go to the gym.
Before I go, one more observation. I don't know if you notice it, since we go to the same gym, but we go at very different times.
We do.
Everybody's younger than I am.
Yes.
And it's not like, oh, I feel like an old man, hyperbole, blah, blah, blah. No, I think at any given time that I've gone, I haven't seen anybody older than me.
No, this morning, right as I was leaving, an older gentleman was doing his warm-up stretching, and I was like, God, that guy's old. And I'm like, no, he's actually my age. Oh, boy.
Yep. And then the other thing I've noticed is I'm the only one in the shape I'm in.
That's not true.
Again, I haven't seen anybody else.
Okay. Our gym skews younger.
Okay.
By
Okay.
far. Okay.
Yeah, we go to like a nightclub gym.
Yes, a little bit it feels like that.
It feels like that.
Yeah. Yes. But I will say that there are people in all levels of shape. You know, it skews very fit. Like 80% of people who are there might qualify for some sort of Olympic event. I will say that.
And I'm not trying to talk myself
No,
into a
it's
negative
true.
corner.
No, because remember, I'm coming from my little suburban gym.
Right.
Which was like a lot of high school and college kids, but, you know, by the time they filter out, it's mostly people between the ages of 45 and 65 who are in all
variations
of shape.
Sure.
Our gym currently is not like that.
So what I'm thinking I'm going to do
Yeah.
after I finish this experiment is I might change gyms. Go with me on this.
Go to one further away so you're less likely to
a little
go.
further away.
No.
And possibly in a retirement home. Just think about that. Where like I roll in and it's like, oh, wow.
I mean, people are like,
what's his routine?
yeah, exactly.
Right?
Can you tell me what you eat?
Yeah. How are you maintaining it? Because I skew older visually, right? You look at me with the hair and the beard, and you're like, oh, that guy's a good 64, 65 years old.
No one is saying that.
Okay.
No.
Well, all the guys on their phone are on the bench.
This is your imagination
It's all
doing
I have.
you dirty.
It's all I have, Brian.
Yeah, don't do that. I stopped bringing my phone in at all because I'm like, I'm not going to be the guy sitting on the bench looking at the phone because that's everybody else.
That stays in
Because
the locker.
everyone's like 24 in that gym.
They're so young. How about this one? Because we go to the same gym, we can compare notes. When it's quote unquote busy, how many people do you think are in there?
When I walked in this morning, I thought there were 1,700 people in there.
Yeah, it's very busy.
I don't know how many it actually was, but it's so funny. It was packed. I felt like it was packed. And I did a little warm-up. I did one exercise on the floor. I got over to the bench press. I did a set of bench press. I looked up. There were 3 people left in the gym.
That's really interesting.
I was telling you I go at this time.
I know, it's a
when
special time.
Everyone files out like 10 minutes after I get there.
It's funny because even when I go and it's sort of lower turnout, I still think it's close to 100 people in there.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But what I like to do is try to grab a machine up near the windows near the front door.
Yeah.
And I do a little game when I'm...
I want to hear about this.
Yeah, so I have like a 30-minute window of running or whatever I'm
Okay.
doing. You know, is it run, walk, is it whatever, interval. I will count the number of people coming in
Yeah.
versus the number of people going out.
Okay.
And it's always a much higher number of people coming in.
Where do they go?
They're going to all various. I mean, I will say the gym has a little bit of real estate. It is multifaceted. There's, you know, of course, the bike room for the classes. There's a dance studio type space for organized classes. There's a free weight area. There's 2 sets of machine room areas, essentially, but it's giant floor. There's, in the same space, aerobic machines, double sets of those. I mean, it's just... Then there's a whole area for like medicine ball, jump rope, ladders, other crazy stuff that happened. Do you know the area?
Sandbags.
I never go near that area. That area is like the part of the playground where I know I'm going to get beat up. I stick to my machines. I'm very specific about it. I found
People are
somebody's-
dragging tractors around.
I did the right. Tell me if I did the right thing. The other day, I was on a treadmill. It was after I had done weight, so I was just on it for 5 minutes to clear it out. And I found someone's Garmin, like a beautiful watch.
Oh.
And I turned it in to the front desk.
Yeah.
That was the right thing to do, right?
Well, unless you needed a new Garmin.
I do.
Oh no! Of
need
course,
a new Garmin.
Of course, you turn it in, Peter.
Okay.
Someone's very happy.
That's. I hope they hear it, and I hope they know that I was that.
I'm sure it's a listener.
I'm sure it is too. I figure most people in there are listening to the show. And they don't know I'm there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Your voice is younger.
My voice does skew young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd peg you at like 61. Voice-wise.
I gotta get to the gym.
Zing!
Woot, 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 woot.
Peter, that was a show. We just listened to it.
How was your run today at gmail.com?
Let's hear your thoughts about what we should name that crazy race. Also, you're all invited.
Michael Goff, feel better.